We use metaphors when we find it difficult to describe a thing or an experience. So we borrow a word or a phrase which appears similar to the thing or experience which we are trying to describe. When it comes to the idea of learning, metaphors often leave the only explanation. I chose to present my ePortfolio as a canoe journey is a metaphor for one's journey through life and the skills needed to successfully navigate the journey. This is something that I felt connected personally to me as I have a strong background in history with First Nations culture. I've participated in a number of tribal canoe journeys, and the experience is something powerful and transformational. In order to shape the layout and structure of the ePortfolio using the metaphor, I had to reflect and break down the experience into 7 distinct stages. The primary theory inspiring my work is the learning theory of constructivism. I truly believe that we are better able to understand the information when we have constructed it ourselves. Learning is a social advancement. It involves language, real-world situations, most importantly, interaction and collaboration among learners. There are 2 major thinkers on education that inspired my works. The first being Vygotsky, his social development theory. Vygotsky's theories stress the fundamental role of social interaction in the development of cognition. He believes strongly that community plays a central role in the process of making meaning. This challenges Piaget's notion that children's development must necessarily precede their learning. In other words, Vygotsky says that social learning tends to precede development. The second is one of my favorite writers on the topic of education, and that's Paulo Freire. Something that stands out in particular to me is when Freire states that education can essentially become either one or 2 options. It's either a tool to bring about conformity to a present system, or it's a means of inspiring critical thinking and discovery in order to transform the world. Okay, so I'm going to show you a walkthrough or tour of the website that is hosting my ePortfolio. I've hosted the website on my own domain at kgreenhalf.com, and when you go there, it starts at the home page, which has just an image slider, also has the intro video and the guided tour hosted here. There's also a section for latest posts where any updates or future posts that I include in my ePortfolio will be located, and there's a short little thank you text box. In the overview section of the portfolio, it will outline the purpose of this portfolio, what the target audience for the portfolio is, as well as give a brief description of what can be found in the contents. I've also included a brief condensed personal philosophy of education, as well as some personal information about me as an educator and as a professional student. And I have a copy of my resume available as part of my portfolio. As I had explained the metaphor before, I'm going to sort of walk you through the stages of the metaphor in this video tour. There are 2 ways to navigate through the metaphor. The first is with this image slider, and the second is with these button style links. I've included these button style links because image sliders are not always shown on all devices. For example, if you were viewing this on a small tablet or a smartphone, it might be easier to navigate through with the buttons. So we'll start with the first stage, planning the trip. And in the planning the trip stage, it explains this stage of the metaphor. And every stage of the metaphor will have button style links to the artifacts. And if you click on those links, it will bring you to a reflection and a upload of that particular artifact. When you get to the bottom of each metaphor stage, there's an arrow directing you to the next stage in the metaphor. So as we go through, as you can see, some of the stages may include more than one artifact. And I've tried to have a recurring theme throughout this website, sort of to make it almost like a web application rather than just a website. The menu bar is the same at the top of every page. There are very similar style buttons or icons to view the particular artifacts and the stages of the metaphors. When you get to the last stage of the metaphor, sharing, reflecting, and re-inspiring, it will include a link to the final reflection. This is more or less the conclusion of the ePortfolio and what I expected, and really the role that this ePortfolio has played in my learning and how it has deepened my knowledge of the content that I've included in here. There's a couple other sections in the website that you can visit. One is the assessment page, where it includes a detailed rubric that I've developed for self-assessing my ePortfolio. It's arranged through various categories, and then there is a 4-point scale. I also wanted to make my website multi-navigational in that depending on the audience viewing the website, they may want to just directly see some of my artifacts. So in the artifacts section, if you click on it, it breaks down the artifacts I've included, titling each stage of the metaphor and where they're included. But it also includes direct links to those artifacts. As well, in the menu, you can directly link to any of the artifacts. So that's about it as far as navigating through the website and how you can view my ePortfolio. I hope that you enjoy it, and I look forward to hearing your feedback.